Okay, are you ready for the final question?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm always ready.
Okay then, here it is. The question is, how could you listen to CJSF? A. On radio through 90.1 FM. B. Through 89.3 cable FM. C. Online through www.cjsf.ca. D. All of the above.
This question is a bit hard, but I do know they broadcast from Burnaby, right?
I think so.
Well, let's see. Do you know the answer? Could you help me?
You're listening to CJSF 90.1 FM, 89.3 cable FM, and online at www.cjsf.ca, as well as on TELUS HD channel 3706. My name is KP Wee, and thanks for tuning in to this edition of Smitten by the Written. Today we'll be airing an interview that I conducted with Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald, who will be performing a show on Friday, March 30th at Trees Coffee House in downtown Vancouver at 450 Granville Street at 8 p.m. Again, that's Friday the 30th at 8 p.m. at Trees Coffee House. Now, having listened to Chris Ronald's music, I can say that his songs have a lot of deep meanings. For example, each one of the songs on his last album, Turning Tides, tells a story about his life in British Columbia, or about family and relationships, and even about social responsibility. And he's got a terrific voice as well, and you'll find that his music is very soothing. So I highly recommend that you check out his show on Friday, March 30th at Trees Coffee House on Granville Street in Vancouver. You will not be disappointed. Now, before we get to the interview with Chris Ronald, here's a song titled Sunshine from his album Turning Tides here on CJSF 9.1 FM.
Sunshine on the horizon, I've been waiting so long for you to show. I saw you in all your glory, deliver color to my world. You've got to know just how that feels. You've got to know just how that feels. My heroes, they lie before me. I try to imagine what lies ahead, and I see you in all my stories, bringing color to my world. You've got to know just how that feels. You've got to know just how that feels. And I've never known a thing so fine. Let it rain, I'll pay no mind. You will always be my sunshine. Think about you all the time. Leave my cloudy days behind. You will always be my sunshine. You will always be my sunshine. So warm me with every sunbeam. Give me the power to carry on. And I promise I'll be there for you, returning color to your world. You've got to know just how that feels. You've got to know just how that feels. And I've never known a thing so fine. Let it rain, I'll pay no mind. You will always be my sunshine. Think about you all the time. Leave my cloudy days behind. You will always always be my sunshine. You will 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 always be my sunshine.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to Smitten by the Rain on CJSF 90.1 FM in Burnaby, British Columbia, 89.3 cable FM, and online at www.cjsf.ca, as well as on TELUS HD channel 3706. My name is KP Wee, and I'll be with you today. It's my pleasure to chat with Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald in today's show. He and I will be discussing his songwriting as well as his life. So welcome to our program today, Chris, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Terrific. Now, Chris, you've been based in Vancouver for the past decade, and I understand you're originally from England, and you spent a year traveling around the world before coming to Canada a decade ago from England. So what can you tell us a bit about the decision to settle here in British Columbia?
Yeah, well, we decided to quit our jobs in London, England, and take 12 months out and then land in Canada. I think initially we were thinking we would head for Alberta, maybe Edmonton or Calgary, but it was during a little trip across Canada I started to think about what I actually wanted to do going forward. I think my priorities had shifted a little bit, having seen the world for 12 months, and I used to be in sales back in the UK, and I don't know, just didn't feel the right fit for me anymore, so I decided I wanted to go into teaching. I felt it was a career that could kind of consolidate all of my different kind of facets, skill sets, and so on, and so then I was looking for a university where I could qualify as quickly as possible, and it was actually the two unis in Vancouver allowed reasonably quick teacher qualification at SFU and UBC, so I ended up going to UBC, settling in Vancouver, and that was about 7 years ago. Well, I settled in Vancouver about 10 years ago, qualified as a teacher about 7 years ago, and that's what I'm doing now.
How difficult was it as a transition, I guess, going from sales into teaching?
Well, there are some kind of similarities, actually. You're kind of used to standing up and delivering information. And,
right.
But, yeah, I don't know. I always felt that teaching would kind of come naturally to me. And with a little bit of training, they know that I would know how to do it. And it seems to be the case. So, and then throughout that, I've always been songwriting as well.
Right.
I was hoping that teaching would kind of bring everything together. My love for the environment, my love for music, and to be able to share that with kids.
Good stuff. Now, speaking of songwriting, because you just mentioned that. Now, have you always wanted to be a songwriter? I mean, you started doing that in your teens, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
How did you get started initially?
I'd always been interested in guitar from quite an early age. I had an older brother who played guitar, and there's old photos of me probably when I was about 9 or 10 holding this kind of junior side guitar, and so then my brother started teaching me some chords, and then I think I just kind of started plugging away at it, and I think it was when I was about 15 I was in an English lesson, and I was supposed to be following along with whatever the class novel was, and but I was bored, so I started writing a poem. I think it was about pollution or something like that. And at the end of the lesson, I went up to my English teacher and apologized for not reading along, but produced the poem, and she read it, and I think she maybe even forwarded it on to the head of English, not as a telling off, but as a compliment. And so then I recall going home and putting that poem to music. I guess by then I was perhaps proficient enough on the guitar to actually be able to do that. And so that was my first song, which I think was called Pollution. And so that was about 15, and from then on I've been writing ever since. And probably from 15 to approximately 18, wrote lots and lots of songs that I would never consider playing anymore, and probably wouldn't even couldn't even if you asked me to, and wouldn't because they're so bad. But late teens, early 20s, the songs started to get better, and I don't know, 25 years on from being 15 to now being 40, I feel that I have a pretty solid repertoire of songs, and I'm still able to sit down now and come up with some original stuff. And so last year I released a CD called Turning Tides, and I'm now kind of turning my attention to my next musical project and doing a little bit of writing for that. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned you might still have a picture of the guitar from when you were young. What do you remember about getting that first guitar? It must have been you must have a story about that as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit fuzzy, but I seem to remember the guitar was already in the house.
Okay.
And so I guess my older brother or brothers had played around with it. I can't quite remember. But I remember it being there, and the photo I recall was of me in the bathroom, not sitting on the toilet, but in the corner of the bathroom holding this guitar. And that's all I remember really. And then I know my brother had a really nice Ibanez wooden electric guitar that he used to play in his bedroom through an amplifier, and I used to pick that up every now and again. And I think he had a full-size acoustic, so as I grew, I was then able to leave the little mid-sized thing behind and go adult, go adult size. So yeah.
Okay, we're speaking with Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald here on Smitten by the Written on CJSF 90.1 FM. Now, you mentioned the first song or the first poem that you wrote in class had something to do with pollution, and I guess over the years, the songs that you're writing today are kind of similar to the ones that you wrote in your teens. I mean, not talking about like you were talking about the quality aspect of it, but more in terms of the genre, because as I understand, even these days in Turning Tides, your last album, you still have songs that contain themes on social responsibility or environmental responsibility, like one of the songs called Sweatshop Blues as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So I guess the question is, how have you evolved over the years as a songwriter in terms of like the style of writing that you put together?
Well, in terms of subject matter, that has broadened. When you're young, you only have kind of limited experiences to go on. As you get older, those experiences broaden, and you can draw from a wider variety of sources, and so the environment has always been a common thread through my music. I've always been very passionate about the environment, but also concerned about how we'd say destroying. We're just concerned about environmental degradation generally, and I'm always looking for ways that we can kind of lighten our footprint on the planet. So I often find myself reflecting on my love for the environment, hoping that that would strike a chord with other people. And then in terms of social responsibility, in a way it's connected to the environment. The song Sweatshop Blues that you referred to was, I don't know, it was just reflecting on how we in the Western world seem to depend on cheap labor elsewhere in the world to get what we want for the price that we want it. And how that's not right, really. And yet it continues, and you know, I still buy clothes from that part of the world as well. So I guess it's around raising awareness around it, and you know, making decisions about what we wear and what we do where we can, and you know, just being aware of the consequences that might be having further down the line. You know. Right.
Okay. And Chris, you also are planning to have a new album come out in 2013, next year, is what I understand. So what can you tell us about that, how that's going, like right now?
Okay, well, it's early days. I have most of the album written, and a little bit like Turning Tides, which I released last year, it'll be a representation of my 20 or so years as a songwriter. There'll be some new material in there, and there'll be some material from a few years ago, as there was in Turning Tides. Turning Tides was 100% produced by myself down in my very basic rumpus room here in the basement, which is where I'm talking to you from now.
Okay.
And using, well, limited equipment and limited knowledge, really, about the production side of things, although I did learn a hell of a lot during that project. So now I'm hoping that the new album will be... I want to get some professionals on board, and I currently have up and running a crowdfunding initiative, which is starting to get a little bit of attention in the industry. I just recently wrote an article for the Songwriters Association of Canada, of which I'm a member. They picked up on the fact that I was crowdfunding this new album and wanted me to write something about it. So I wrote an article and they posted it on their website. And now the website that I'm actually crowdfunding with, Rocket Hub, got wind of it, and they're going to contact me too and see if they can give me some exposure. So that's quite exciting.
That's good.
Yeah, but also just, I don't know if you're familiar with crowdfunding at all. We basically set up your stall online, and you say, okay, if you are interested in this project, you can donate to it, and in return, you will get exclusive perks from me, whether it be like a house concert or a song gift or just a first cut CD of the new CD. You know, it's all kind of laid out there on the website. And I'll be honest, I probably set my target a little bit too high, being a little overly ambitious. So I'm not sure I'm going to reach it. But the interesting thing is the spin-off interest that it's generated. Me just kind of putting it out there and saying, "Hey, I'm doing this album. Do you want in?" kind of thing has brought some people out of the woodwork that really want to help me, both with the album and with my music career, to the point where I could well be hooked up with some top producers and so on. So it's all kind of exciting. I think 2012 is set to be a turning point in my music career, and I'm just looking to build on the success that I've had with Turning Tides from last year. So, yeah, that was quite a long little chat there. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's a fantastic story there. I do want to say though, like, you know, the album Turning Tides, I've listened to it. It's a great album. A lot of great songs, and you have, you know, terrific voice. So I think it's kind of interesting to realize that you produce this in your basement, and it's quite good work. So that's fantastic. And you know, obviously, you know, with the crowdfunding, you know, hopefully you'll be able to I guess you, as you alluded to, maybe not reach the target, but maybe get close to it. And it's fantastic to hear that. So you might have some backing from some professionals. So that's good.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw the review in the Georgia Strait for Turning Tides. The title was something like Chris Ronald keeps it simple on Turning Tides or something like that.
Yes.
And that was.
So I was going to say you got a 5-star rating on that.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I was very happy about that, and I just got another one recently with Roots Music Report gave me 5 stars as well. So,
okay.
So I'm thinking, hey, there might be something to this. If I can go down into my basement and produce a 5-star album, what could I do if I actually had some professionals involved?
Right.
So that's what I want to see. I want to see where I can take it with the new album, and maybe I'll take it further than where I am right now, and I would be perfectly happy with that. That's something that I've wanted to do all my life. So, and I feel I've always been a bit of a late bloomer. So. We shall see.
That would be fantastic, Chris. It sounds like very exciting. As you mentioned, this might be the turning point of your career this year. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
Now you mentioned as well, Chris. You perform, I guess they're called house concerts. And you've also performed locally here in BC at various venues.
Yeah.
You had a CD launch party last summer where you performed your songs at the Review Room in Vancouver. I've actually looked you up as well on YouTube. You've actually also performed here at the CJSF studio before.
Yeah.
And do you have any anecdotes or memorable moments that stand out from any one of these performances?
Okay, so the CD launch last year, that was actually combined with my 40th birthday party.
Okay, good stuff.
It all kind of tied together that I managed to just about get the album finished and printed, and for my 40th birthday party. So it was a good event to get people out to listen to the music and grab a CD and have a few drinks on me for my birthday.
Good stuff.
And then house concerts is something that I would really like to do more of. I have done a couple, and I don't think my music lends itself very well to that kind of environment, that kind of intimate listening environment. And I do very much like to, when I feel that I have an attentive audience, I like to elaborate on the songs and give a bit of background behind them and talk about the craft a little bit, the craft of songwriting. And, those are the kind of gigs that I like the most, really. And then yes, I've been on Ryan Fletcher's Melodies in Mind show 2 or 3 times. It's always, in fact, the last one, which was earlier this month, I think, at the end of last month. It was fantastic. We just crowd. There's 2 other artists or acts kind of thing. We just crowded into that little studio, and there was a double bass. We got a double bass in there. It was Leonard and the Lab Rats and Dino Diccolo and myself jamming. And then Ryan often pulls out the public announcements where we have to on the spot come up with some musical take on the public announcements, which often throws people a little bit for a wobbler, but we normally come up with something quite inventive and spur of the moment. So I think he's got a great little show going on there, and I know he's getting some syndication across Canada, and I think it would be great if that went further than where it is right now, because there's not really that many radio stations that are showcasing local talent like that, and Vancouver has a lot to offer in that area. So I think it's time for Vancouver to shout it from the rooftops a little bit.
Good stuff.
You're listening to an interview with Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald. In the next part of the interview, we talk about his event coming up on Friday, March 30th in Vancouver.
Okay, 30th, Friday the 30th of March is at Trees Coffee House downtown on Granville Street.
Yes.
My good friend John Pippas runs a night there where he has 3 artists every Thursday and Friday night. And they just kind of, it's like a triple bill. So I'm not sure where I am in that triple billing, but it runs from 8 till 10, and it's always a good night of music.
So just to recap, you were at Trees Coffee House on Friday the 30th from 8 to 10, and that's on Granville Street.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, and and how can fans keep up, with your latest happenings as well?
Actually, I've just made live a new website. I wrapped my head around WordPress. My old host wasn't able to keep up with, because I keep a blog, and I was basically running out of space on my quota, so I've had to ditch the old one and go onto WordPress with unlimited storage, so it can house my blog. So yeah, at www.chrisronald.com is where you can get all the information that you need about what I'm up to, how the new album's coming along, and where I'm playing, and so on. And you can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and the other usual suspects. So.
And how often are you on Twitter, if I may ask?
I'm just kind of getting started on Twitter, so not very often, really. I think usually when I post a blog, I'll post that on Twitter, and that's the extent of it at the moment.
Fantastic.
You can really waste a lot of time on the internet as an artist, and sometimes you have to question how much bang for the buck you're actually getting. I prefer to just get out there in a physical sense and play and promote my music in a live setting. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So again, the website is www.chrisronald.com, and we can also catch up with you on Facebook as well as on Twitter.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, on March the 30th, which is a Friday, you'll be at Trees Coffee House on Granville Street. That's from 8 to 10. That's
right.
Good stuff. So I want to thank you a lot, Chris, for joining us today on Smitten by the Written on CJSF 90.1 FM. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we'll be able to keep in touch, and wish you all the best for the next album.
Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me for an interview.
And I'm sure we'll probably see you around again when Ryan invites you back to the studio.
I'm sure.
Fantastic. All right, so that was Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back with you in a moment.
That was an interview with Vancouver-based singer-songwriter Chris Ronald. The interview was recorded late last week, and since then, Chris has informed me that he has another gig coming up in early April. It's a crowdfunding gig, which is going to be at Cafe Montmartre on Main Street on Tuesday, April the 3rd from 8 to 10 p.m. Chris will be performing with the band, and it should be a good night. So a couple of dates coming up in Vancouver where Chris will be performing. Of course, the first one being on Friday, March the 30th, but the bigger one, as he's told me since we recorded the interview, will be happening again on Tuesday, April the 3rd at Cafe Montmartre, as it's a crowdfunding gig for his 2013 album. For more information, you can go to his website at www.chrisronald.com. And now here's one of the songs from his current album, Turning Tides, titled Sweatshop Blues.